Dad passed away yesterday. It's the 2nd of January today, and on New Year's Day 2021 at 8:15 Dad passed away and his battle with the cancer ended. This morning I'm going on a little walk that we used to take together on a morning, his regular morning route, and I thought I'd just take everybody with me. We may end up bumping into some of his dog walker friends and people that he knows, and I will stop and have a chat to the camera at some point on this route and talk through what happened and how yesterday was. But for the most part, it will just be me walking with the camera. Morning. The tide's up, so I'll be walking on the prom rather than the beach. But we'll just go and have a little look. It is on its way out by the look of it. It looks quite tumultuous over the brig. See the waves crashing over it there? So it looks a bit rough further out and a bit stormy. And actually there is a bit of the beach clear, so I think we'll go along here for a little way. I know Dad often used to walk on the prom, but when we were together, if the tide was down, we'd go on the beach. Very quiet, as you can see. Hello. Morning. Looks like I might get my feet wet here. I haven't got the best shoes on for this. I'm not really bothered. Let's see where the best way to go across is. Well, it is really quite deep. Right. Ready for a quick skip and a paddle. 2 little hops, I think. There's the finished part. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Not too bad. I think I'll sit in here. We sometimes sit in here and have a little breather. So I think I'll sit in here, point the camera at me a little bit. Sorry for the jerkiness. And I'll tell you what happened. Mark, my sister's husband, he came back on New Year's Eve, which was good. He wanted to be with his wife, understandably, my sister, for New Year. And so we did a split shift looking after Dad on New Year's Eve. And, excuse me, and between them, Jeanette and Mark took the first stint. Then Jeanette and I took over from her at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And at about 4 o'clock, he was very peaceful. The hospice at home ladies from Marie Curie had come and they'd been in the night and they'd moved him. He had a bad pressure sore on his backside. But they came and moved him so that the pressure was off that, so that he wasn't in any pain with it. Not that he would have been anyway because of the amount of medication. And then Jeanette went to bed. And then it was about, I was watching him through the kitchen window because he was in the back room. And I sat by the kitchen sink so that I could see him. I'd raised the bed so I could see him. And I set myself up with my tablet and I was watching a few episodes of the series Bones. And at around 6ish I started to feel a little bit groggy, so I got a cushion and relaxed on the sink a little bit, leaned forward so that I could see him and just kind of relax for a bit. And I think I dozed for about 10 minutes. And at about, when I did, it was only, as I say, it was only a few minutes later. So about 6:30, I think it was, I moved. I wanted to be with him. So I went through into the back room where his bed was, and I held his arm, and I sat talking to him for a little while. Yeah, I reassured him that we were going to take care of Mum, and that we were all going to be okay, and that I loved him. And his breathing, that was it. The other reason why I'd moved into the back room to be with him was because I'd noticed his breathing had changed. It'd become a bit more shallow. And it's hard to know sometimes whether that's your imagination playing tricks on you. Anyway, I stayed with him, and I was with him for 3/4 of an hour to an hour, and I left him for a few minutes while I went and made myself a cuppa. Then went back and continued talking to him, and just, as I say, held his arm. And as it got up to about 7:30, I heard Mum stirring upstairs. So I got her a coffee ready, told him I'd be back, got her a coffee ready, and took that up and got Mum and her medication sorted out. And it was about, I don't know, by that time it had got to just after 8. And I went back downstairs, and Mark came down, and I turned around and said, that I told Mark that his breathing had got shallower. And I turned and looked at Dad, and I don't know whether you've ever had that experience where you happen to glance at a clock, an analogue clock with the second hand moving, and as you glance at the clock it seems to take an age for the second hand to move, just because you've happened to catch it just after it had previously moved, and you're not in the rhythm of the tick. And as I glanced at Dad, it seemed to take an age before he took the next breath. And I happened to say to Mark, yeah, he's been breathing a bit like that. And then I realised it was an age, because his next breath was an age, was slower coming. And so I went round by his bedside, and Mark followed me. And I watched him, and I could see his pulse flickering in his neck. And it had been pretty constant. And his breathing stopped, and I turned to Mark and I said, go and get Jeanette. And off he went, and because I knew it was happening, and his breaths became very intermittent, and I could see the pulse in his neck weakening. And Jeanette came down, and she stood at the other side of the bed, and then Mum came down, and he was still very intermittent breathing, but he was literally just slipping away. And we were all there. We told him we loved him. And he took his last breath. Morning. and that was it. Morning. One of Dad's dog walking friends is here. I'm probably going to have to tell him what happened.
How are you doing? How's going?
He passed away yesterday morning. I'm actually just recording a bit for my YouTube channel about it. Just to say what happened.
YouTube channel?
Yeah, I've been keeping a log of his whole journey throughout this period. It's called More Than Just a Cleaner. If you want to look for it, it's called More Than Just a Cleaner. It's
More Than Just a Cleaner.
Yeah, it's quite simple.
Yeah, I look at YouTube quite a lot.
Do you? Yeah. Is Dad's phone number has Dad got your number in his phone?
No idea.
Right, I don't know.
No idea.
Have you got a mobile number?
I have a mobile, but I haven't got a mobile on me.
Do you know your number?
No.
No.
I'm hopeless. I just changed it a few months ago, and I can remember the last couple of numbers, the ones that they always ask for.
Yeah.
They always ask for the last few numbers on your email and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
I'm very sorry.
It was. He was
an absolute ace fella, really was.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's not just through dog walking I've known him. I've gone back a lot of years to when he was ambulance driving.
That's
when I was
right.
on the milk road. That's how far it goes back.
Yeah.
So you're going back 30 odd years. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, it was a shame. It was lovely in a way because we were all round him as he kind of took his last breaths. I just happened to catch it in the morning. I noticed his breathing had started to flutter and his pulse was fluttering. My brother-in-law was behind me and I said, "Go and get Jeanette, and Mum, it's happening, So he went and got them too. And we were all round him as he kind of took his last breaths, which I was really pleased about. I'd wanted him to go, knowing that we were there. I didn't want him to go without.
I can't be a hug.
Yeah, I know, but I just didn't want him to go, without anybody there.
I suppose you've got to look at the positive side. He was suffering.
He was. I mean, thankfully, the nurses had been round.
Where was it? Was it home?
Yeah, the nurses had been round and had increased. He was the last couple of nights he'd struggled with his breathing and it was horrible seeing because he had this kind of wild-eyed panic as he was clutching for breath with the secretions that he had going on in his lungs. He was very wet and bubbly,
Yeah.
So they increased the one that calmed him down. And the district nurse said to us, she said there is a strong possibility that his body will just relax now and relax into slipping away. And that's what happened. So, but
the thing is, you knew it was going to happen, Carl, but you say it's still a very, very, very sad time. Because
it is.
I feel as though I lost a good brain now.
Yeah.
Really. I knew it was coming, but
yeah.
to walk up and down here. I say going back when he had a mate, was it
Ted Humphries.
Ted Humphries, yeah.
Yeah.
Ted Humphries, yeah.
Yeah, if you see any of the others,
at the same time, didn't he?
If you see any of the others, let them know.
I will let them know,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of phone numbers and I'm passing somebody down so they go past.
Yeah.
In fact, he is. Martin's down here now.
Is he?
Yeah, Martin's.
I don't think I ever met Martin.
So it's normally, do you want to tell him or do you want to tell him yourself?
I didn't really know Martin. I think Jeanette knew him. Jeanette had met him with Dad, but I didn't really know him. But yeah, it was a shame.
It is. Well, it's fallen.
But it was. I mean, it's good in a way because at least now he's not. It's all. Yeah, the pain's all over.
Exactly. And that's the way, in a way, you've got to look at it. You've just got to remember the good times you've had with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I bet he's been a good dad to you.
He's been great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, right.
The worst part about it is that Mum keeps forgetting.
Well, she's not right herself.
She woke up this morning and she'd forgotten. We had to tell her 2 or 3 times yesterday. She went through it, and that's just heartbreaking in its own right, because she keeps just going through this process of realising he's not there anymore, and that he's passed away. And that's a horrible thing to experience, isn't it?
You see, when my mum passed away, she got dementia, hasn't she?
She's got Alzheimer's, yeah.
Yeah, when Mum passed away, it was a similar thing. In the past 2 years, Carla, she didn't know anybody. And when she died, funny enough, I couldn't grieve for her because to me she died earlier.
Yeah, the person that you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person she knew, she was just awful to say.
Yeah.
Walking cabbage.
Yeah.
You know, and it's awful to say that.
No, but it's I mean, thankfully, Mum's not like that. It's just her short-term memory is just shot.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
You know, she's still.
Would she go up there on her own, or?
No. Jeanette's already told her that her and Mark are going to take her to Halifax to stay there to live and see how that works out. You know, in the first instance, because that in itself is going to be a challenge for Jeanette because it's like looking after somebody with dementia.
It's not easy.
And Mum is going to be in a state of disarray in an unfamiliar environment.
It's not easy.
No.
Because I didn't live with my mum, but I was across the road from her.
Yeah.
She lived at one side of her, and I was all the
to
time,
and fro.
backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
And I had some right to do for her, so it wasn't easy.
No, it wouldn't have been.
And she ended up, well, obviously she ended up in home. She ended up, was it Pinfold at Monaghan?
Right, okay, yeah.
Pinfold at Monaghan.
Yeah, I don't know how she's going to cope. What was quite nice yesterday was we went for a little drive in the afternoon along Scarborough seafront. We sat there and had some chips and just talked about him for a bit, you know. And to be honest, it was just nice for all of us to get out of the house, you know, because the funeral director had been and they'd taken him away, taken him into their care.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit of a double whammy, isn't it, really? You knew it was coming, but it gives you a lot more freedom now.
We would get.
You've still got the problem with your mum.
Yeah, but at least Jeanette can now go home, which I know she's dying to do.
Yeah.
You know, she's been away from home, apart from a couple of weekends ago when she went home because her husband wasn't well. She's been living with her mum and dad for the last 4 months, you know. So she's done a brilliant job of taking care of them, you know, and taking care of my dad. And I said this to Jeanette. I got to know Dad really well because we used to go out drinking every week. You know,
and, we did,
and it was great.
Come through, we went for a couple of them,
That's right, yeah. And I'm really glad we did that.
Yeah.
Because you get to know him as a person, you know.
Yeah.
And although it was sad for Jeanette.
I've got to do that with my radio because obviously with this thing going on, we can't do that.
Yeah.
But he does his own thing, I do mine, but we'll have to get together because you miss it.
Yeah.
You miss it the time and you regret it.
Yeah.
Martin, you know, do you want to tell him or shall I tell him?
I'll let you if you don't mind.
I'll go and tell him.
All right. Cheers, Rich. You take care anyway.
Sorry for all that.
Yeah, thank you. All right. All right.
Shut up!
I'll have to tell Sue.
I was going to call up on her phone.
Oh, I'm glad I visited him last. Did I go last week?
Hello.
Yeah, we saw him last week.
Hello. Yeah, it was a shame. I mean, I'll tell you what, the bugger, he wanted to see the new year in.
He said to me, he said, we're back to Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to.
It's that horrible disease.
Hello. Hello. Got a little friend here. Hello.
Morning, we've grown.
Are you lovely?
And he loved her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And your mum did.
Yeah, well, he did Rocky, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it was a Rocky every day.
He was good with dogs.
Yeah, it was.
You know, I think he missed
Has he
it.
had one himself? No?
Yeah, we had two.
I thought you had some, yeah.
Yeah, we had a lab lurch across, and then the first one we had, Tess, she was more of a hound. She was a cross, but we don't know what she was. She was a rescue. She was a rescue. That one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tess died in '93, and Kel, she died with me in York, so that would have been sometime around the late '90s. You know, but.
Yeah, we did. The three of us down there. The people used to call the last of the summer wine. Three or four of us all the time. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's so nice.
Yeah.
And we feel we've lost a good mate, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, it's crap. It is.
Really is crap.
Yeah, it was a good egg. We'll be doing all the ringing round and stuff today. We thought we'd leave it yesterday with it being New Year's Day.
Yeah, well, I'll ring my other mate up, Jeff, because Jeff knew him quite well as well. So
Yeah, cheers, Richard.
Dog walkers out.
Yeah.
And I think what we'll probably end up doing is, in terms of the funeral, is just letting everybody know where it's going to be, and if they want to come on the street when the procession's going to be, you know, when it.
That's right, because obviously you're limited to what you can do anyway.
Yeah. So we'll just have an intimate ceremony at the crematorium.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Are you a big family?
There's 4 of us, including Mark, my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not many, but there's a lot more on my mum's side than there is on my dad's side. Yeah.
No, it's sad. I'm sorry.
Hello.
You know it's over now, Carl.
Yeah.
You've more space for yourself now, especially Jeanette.
Yeah.
You know, that's all to say that, but it's right, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
She's worked like a Trojan now.
Oh, she has. Yeah.
Hasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, you both from, but
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been brilliant.
Ollie,
Right, we'll toddle off home and go a bit further on.
Yeah, I'm going to go a bit further.
breakfast.
I'll have a look at that YouTube then, what is it?
Yeah, more than just a cleaner.
More than just a cleaner.
So
I'll put that up.
I mean, you know what I do for a living, which is cleaning.
Yeah.
More than just a cleaner.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to remember it.
My wife's a cleaner.
Is she?
She's got a bit of her own business.
But even more just, is she more than just a cleaner?
Yeah. And the only
The trouble with her, she's 110%.
same here. And the reason why I called it more than just a cleaner is because I've worked in the sector most of my life, managing cleaners and so on. And so often I used to hear people say, "Oh, it's just the cleaners." You know what I mean? It's just the cleaners. So I did initially call it something else, based on what I'd experienced with my paralysis. But then I changed it after a while because the content that I was uploading was more fitting for something else, you know. And then I have logged Dad's cancer journey on it as well, and my experience through that. And there's plenty of chats that I've had with him with it as well, because I used to cut his hair and I'd put the camera in front of him and we'd sit and talk about it and what he was going through and so on. So yeah. All right. See you later, guys. You take care.
Yeah. Let us know about.
Will do. Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm glad I bumped into some of his friends. I'm particularly glad I bumped into Richard, because I know Dad was really fond of Richard. Okay, we'll go a bit further. I think I managed to convey everything that happened there, including, as I say, the aspect about my mum. This morning I went in to see her and she was quite chipper and cheerful, and I hadn't heard her moving around in the night, which was a bit of a surprise, because I often hear her milling. I've been up since 3 and I hadn't heard her milling around, so I was hoping she was alright, but I thought she might just be sleeping because it was such a tumultuous day yesterday, such an emotional day. And anyway, I heard her get up and go to the loo, so I popped in to see her, and I said, "Are you okay? It was a bit of a hard day yesterday." And she said, "Why, what happened?" Alzheimer's, it's so hard to deal with. Anyway, sorry for the shaky cam. Well, I'll set you up again and we'll go a bit further. got a little bit brighter while I've been sat in there. Tide's gone a bit further out. Morning. We'd often have to stop a couple of times going up here as we walked for Dad to catch his breath because of the emphysema he had. Morning.
Morning.
I think this is another one of Dad's friends coming now. Oh! Startled me.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. How's your dad?
He passed away yesterday, unfortunately. Yes. It's good in a way because at least he's not struggling anymore and so on. But he went with us all around him, which was nice. At home, yeah. So I'm just actually recording the walk that we used to do on a morning. You know, as a bit of a last tribute, if you like.
Yeah, because he used to love to come out in the morning.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And I've just, do you know Richard Elliott with the little dog Rocky?
Yes.
Yeah, I've just seen Richard and Martin as well, who we knew from lived near where the library used to be, so in those new builds.
Yeah.
So I've seen him as well. So just let a few people know on the way around.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I bumped into a few people.
Yeah. Oh. How old? What was he? Be about 86?
84.
84.
Yeah. So yeah, he made it to the new year.
Yeah.
Which I think he was quite adamant he wanted to do. You know.
And how's your mum?
She's struggling because, I mean, this morning she'd forgotten. You know, with the Alzheimer's, she'd forgotten. So I've had to go through that again with her this morning, so she's been upset. She forgot 2 or 3 times yesterday, you know. it's going to be horrible for her having to go through that time and time again. I don't know how long it'll take for it to settle.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think it will until Jeanette's going to take her to live with her for a bit and see how things go there.
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to be a very strange environment for her as well. No matter what happens with Mum now, she's going to be in a state of disarray.
Yeah, yes, she will.
You know, it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter whether if she went into a home, she'd be in a state of disarray. No matter where she went to a ward or not place, it'd be a state of disarray. And she couldn't stay at home on her own.
No.
Because she'd end up overdosing on Cheerios.
Yeah, and it's, well, I mean, you mentioned the medication. It's the medication. If she's anything like Carl's...
She wouldn't take it.
No.
She hates
Carl's
pills.
Parents, they live with us. They're 96 and 94. And she takes tons of pills.
Yeah.
And even when my husband does it, sorts them all out for her, but even when he does that, and the pills are in front of her in a jar, she still forgets to take them. Yeah. Because it's the short-term memory.
It is.
It's really bad, isn't it?
It is.
She doesn't sound as bad as your mum, but even so, she's got the onset of it. And you can just see, and her personality's changing. Nancy, come here.
He's lively today.
Sorry?
Lively today.
He's very lively today. So, yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
It is.
And there's nothing you can do other than make her feel as comfortable
as possible. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, like you say, that's all we can do now is just make her, try and make a bit of a life for her, an afterlife for her, so to speak. So, anyway, I'll mooch on.
Okay.
All right, you take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Yeah, he certainly got to know a few people on his route and these little morning walks. Hello, little Robin. So we'll go up here and through Glen Gardens. Used to like it through here too. This little park here looks very different now to when we were kids, but parents often used to bring us here to play on the swings and roundabouts. And actually, one of the things Mum and Dad both enjoyed watching was, I don't know whether you can make it out, but the one with the big T-bar, which is relatively new, with the two handles, and you grab hold of it, one on either side, and swing round. My parents used to love watching kids playing on that. And then in the boating lake here, Joe just had a woodpecker. In the spring, there'd be ducks and ducklings. And did you hear the woodpecker? Because there's a duck hide there. And Mum and Dad, they know the people who have the cafe here, Glen Gardens Cafe. And when the COVID situation's over, my sister was on about contacting them here, the owners. I think her name's Sue, if I'm not mistaken, and arranging to have like a little celebration of his life with his friends there, which I think is quite a nice idea. Just need to adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. So now we'll go through into Crescent Gardens. There's Richard again. Hello again.
Go with your little camera.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you later. Morning. Very friendly place, Filey, in case you haven't gathered. A few more people out on the water. I don't know whether you can see them. Might be a bit small. We'll just go and have a quick look. Morning. Right. Is that cross?
He's a spaniel and French bulldog.
Right, okay. Morning.
Morning.
I'm not sure whether this microphone will pick it up, but you can still hear the waves clear as day up here. Little doggies everywhere. Morning. My sister got me a little camping sandwich toaster for Christmas. It's brilliant, I've used it every day. Cook some bacon in it, cook an egg in it, put the bread on and toast it without taking anything out of the pans. The 2 pans, it's a double pan and one covers the other. Cracking little idea. I'm looking forward to having some bacon when I get home. I'll do a review of that at some point. Somebody else going out on a board there. It's cold weather to be out on the water. I think there's some kayakers further out. On the left hand side up here, I might have mentioned this in a previous video, but there's the Conservative Club. My dad wasn't particularly conservative, far from it, but it was somewhere where you could get cheaper beer, and that's where we used to go drinking regularly. We started off in one of the local pubs, which now no longer exists, sadly. And then eventually I became a member of the Conservative Club too. You can see it's the blue building on the left hand side, tall blue building, as you might imagine. It's just gone 9 o'clock, I think, finally starting to wake up. I can smell fresh bread from the bakery. It's making me hungry. What is kind of sad is we've got the fact that Dad never got to experience this last Christmas with us. There's still an open presents and so on, because it was Christmas Day that he kind of started being more delirious and more out of it. Bread and cakes and couplins. Smells great, fresh baking. It's a very fresh morning. Morning. Love its fishmongers. Been there for as long as I can remember. That was where we had the service for my grandmother when she passed. Grandmother on Dad's side. And the little shop on the corner there, the Barbers. When we were kids, that was a sweet shop called, I don't think it was ever actually labelled Sticky Fingers, but we always knew it as Sticky Fingers. Across the road here. We'll get run down. And this is West Road. So named because it points north. I'm guessing the name doesn't really have anything to do with directions and compass points. Considering I drank about a bottle of wine, well, about a bottle and a half of wine last night, I don't feel too bad this morning. I certainly didn't expect to be awake at 3. First time I've had a drink for a while. One that affected my head anyway. Had a few occasional tipples. So here we are entering the Croft. My childhood home, and the home of my parents throughout most of my childhood. I moved here when I was about 2. If you followed this journey throughout, I would like to just say thank you. Thank you for clicking on and watching the videos. I feel I can move on a little bit in a way. I'll start to move on. As well. So yes, thank you for following along. If you can donate some money to one of the cancer charities. I've been particularly enamoured with Marie Curie. They have been absolutely fabulous. So if you can pop some money either to cancer research or Marie Curie, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. See you soon.